What if I told you one of the most dominant characters in Beyblade Burst history is still being disrespected to this day? I'm talking about a blader that didn't just win, he controlled every battle he stepped into. Introduced as the main villain of Beyblade Burst Turbo, PHI didn't just dominate the story, he left a mark on the community. Love him or hate him, you can't deny his generational run. This video was actually inspired by a post I came across on the Beyblade Burst subreddit, and when I'm currently rewatching Beyblade Burst Evolution for another video I'm working on, I figured why not dive into this one in the meantime. So in this video I'm going to be covering PHI's battles with the future legendary bladers of his universe, Shu Kurenai and Hoya. Not Aiga though, as I think that battle deserves a video of its own. Now the reason I want to make this is because I saw people saying that PHI only won because of plot armor, and honestly, that couldn't be further from the truth. And if you're one of those people, then stick around, because you're the ones I want to try and convince that PHI was just that good. But before we get into it, I've got the question of the video for you. Which one of PHI's bays did you like the look of more, Dread or Revive Phoenix? No stats or real life performances, just design and vibes. I'm more of a fan of Dread Phoenix personally, as its rounder shape and yellow detailing made it pop more. Tell me which one you prefer in the comments though, and with that out of the way, let's get into PHI versus Free. Getting into their battle, they both start off quite predictably. Free slow launching and PHI going on the offense. Fafnir quickly speeds up, and after using Guy's spin, is able to break through Phoenix's armor. PHI tries to counter using Dread Crush, however is overpowered by Absorb Break and wrung out. Note that PHI looks surprised to see this. Round 2 starts with Free going straight into Absorb Break, aiming to remove the armor, which he succeeds in. However, is quickly countered by a Dread Cannon, which is actually able to score a ring out against Free. This time it's him left looking shocked at what went down. Keep in mind that the armor hitting Fafnir is said to be as strong as being hit by Phoenix itself. This is due to the upgrade Phoenix received after absorbing Dread Hades' power. The final round starts with Free launching full power and going straight into Guy's Claw, which again breaks through the armor in a single strike. Phoenix seems to try and launch his armor, however is knocked away just in time. Both bays begin to clash on the stadium rails, leading to PHI finally being in a position to take advantage of his armor, firing a Dread Cannon and knocking Fafnir into the stadium wall, zapping all of its stamina and forcing Free on the defensive. Of course, Fafnir begins its signature move of absorbing the impacts and increasing its rotation speed. Both bladers begin to resonate and start to clash with one another, with Free priming himself for an Absorb Break. Trying to catch PHI off guard, Free launches into the Absorb Break, however PHI has already predicted this and made his final preparations. Hitting his armor to intercept Fafnir before he's able to clash with Phoenix, this takes Free completely by surprise, and having lost all momentum, Phoenix catches Fafnir in a Dread Cannon Crush. Free had already used Absorb Break just a moment ago, and doesn't have any other special moves strong enough to break out. As a result, is left to PHI's mercy, which of course we know he has none, destroying Fafnir and Free's way of blading in the process. Now I want to ask, at what point does PHI have plot armor in this battle? Like seriously, Free had the power in Absorb Break to beat PHI. He scored a ring out using it while breaking Free from Dread Crush. It's obvious that PHI knew this, which is why he sets Free up to use it in the final round. Being battered by the armor, Free's only real option was to go into an Absorb Break, which PHI predicts and capitalizes on. He puts Free in a lose-lose situation, continue to be battered by Dread Cannons, or try something they both knew would be a final desperate act. In the end, PHI had no plot armor here, he just used his bay's gimmick and upgrades to his advantage, while ultimately outsmarting one of the best bladers to ever do it. And with one legend on his record, he set his sight on another, the one and only Shu Kurenai. Jumping straight into their battle and going into the first round, we see Phoenix taking the center, with Spriggan chipping away at its stamina using Turbo Crux Boost. PHI begins to egg on Shu, potentially taunting him in hopes he'll knock off the armor, though Phoenix was starting to lose steam about the same time, so it could just be PHI seeing how their base power would match up. Shu realizes PHI was aiming for the turbo blades directly and attempts to end the round, resonating and using turbo spirals and whip, sending Phoenix flying out of the stadium and hitting the ground a split second before it bursts. Note that Shu seemed annoyed after seeing he only scored a ring out. Both bladers lock in, Shu deciding to set Spriggan to right spin attack mode, aiming to finish the battle as quickly as possible. Round 2 starts off with both bays going in for the attack, PHI managing to pull off a Dread Break while speeding up on the rails to throw Spriggan aside. Shu responds with a turbo counter break and both bays get sent flying, but it's Spriggan that hits the ground first. This visibly frustrates Shu, and PHI plays on this. Preparing for the final round, Shu switches it up again, setting Spriggan to left spin stamina mode. Showing visible signs of fatigue, Shu readies himself, followed by PHI. Round 3 opens up just like the first round did, with Spriggan launching a barrage of attacks against the stationary Phoenix. But it's at this point where PHI starts to take some steps towards control. Seeing Spriggan riding the rails, he puts his bay on a collision course to allow the armor to break away, surprising Shu. This is the first time in their whole match that PHI had his armor available to use as an offensive weapon. Straight away launching a Dread Cannon that looks just like Dread Hades' Dread Gravity, forcing Spriggan to defend against constant hits from all sides. Shu attempts one last counter, powering up and using being sent flying to his advantage, actually able to change modes from stamina to attack while falling back into the stadium, which allows it to speed up and dodge the armor, actually taking PHI by surprise. Both resonate with their bays, both launch special moves. It's Dread Break versus Turbo Whip. The clash is close and seems to be even at first, however PHI manages to reverse the turbo locks, breaking off and trapping Spriggan in one last Dread Cannon crush, and with nothing left to give, Spriggan breaks, putting another legend down in the process. It's here I want to ask you, what could Shu have done to escape Dread Cannon crush? He had already used Turbo Whip and Spriggan's Turbo Blades had already been reversed. He did have other special moves we've seen him use earlier on the anime, like his counter break and upper launch. However, the fact he didn't use any of these suggests to me that he either didn't have the power or stamina to use them, or that it wouldn't have made a difference. I love this battle as it shows how PHI's presence slowly wears down on bladers, even when they're winning. Notice how frustrated Shu looked after the first and second rounds. I don't think I remember seeing Shu that worked up since his battle with Louis in the first season. PHI didn't win these matches due to his overwhelming power or plot armor. Freeze Absorb Break clearly had the power to rival him, and Shu maybe had a better showing of power with his Turbo Whip. But PHI isn't a blader that they're used to battling. He's cold, calculating, and cunning. He took advantage of their styles of blading and chipped away at their confidence over time, leaving space for doubt to form and egos to take over. We get to see through flashbacks that both Free and Shu were going in with clear game plans, especially in Shu's case as he had the advantage of seeing how PHI used his armor to deal with Free. PHI took advantage of Free's ego. He knew Free was going in for the burst and outplayed him when he started to focus on it a bit too much. In Shu's case, he slowly took away his confidence, being a constant overwhelming presence that refused to back off an inch, and ultimately forcing Shu to make a mistake because of it. Alongside all the psychological games he played, PHI had the power and battle IQ to compete with the legends, and with a long list of special moves and a super powerful Beyblade, PHI is one of the most dangerous bladers to ever do it. That's why he was able to beat Shu and Free, by using fear, taking advantage of egos, and outplaying the best, not because the plot allowed it. Thank you so much if you got this far in the video, and especially if you watched my last one. The support and debates in the comments on that video is just incredible. What do you think of this one though? Do you think PHI is overrated and just won because of plot, or have I convinced some of you that he is just the god of destruction? Let me know in the comments as I really do love debating, and any feedback and video ideas are appreciated. Thank you again so much for watching, and with this coming to an end, that's game.